Hi, I am Mike of Nearly Enough Dice. This is the Kerbal Space Program. This enormous behemoth that you see in front of you, this is Discovery 1, or at least is what's going to be launching Discovery 1. I'm not entirely convinced that would actually fit inside the VAB, but never mind. I have decided not to do any of the fancy schmancy, go to Jool and have mini landers and like an extended mission around Jool. Apart from anything else, it turns out that to do that, I really need to go to 1.05 because then I've got parts to make smaller kind of hopper modules. But 1.05 doesn't seem to understand the anomaly contract, so the whole point of going to Jool will suddenly stop. So, yes. Anyway, this is a great big enormous thing. It's basically just got all the things you need to do, biomes, all the biome scans and all that kind of stuff. And it should have enough fuel to get there and enough fuel to get back. Doesn't have any kind of re-entry module, so I'm going to have to get these guys back into orbit and then pick them up. But that's fine. Yeah, so we should be good to go. So let's do that. I'm going to be mech jebbing my way again. It's just easier. So this hopefully is going to be a bit of a series where we get ourselves into orbit, do the transfer and get to Jool and then get to the anomaly, which is what that's the actual intention. So we're just doing the turn at the minute that MechJeb likes to do. So it's using pitch instead of yaw to do the orbit. I've got Tamina and Valentina. Valentina seems to be quite happy. Tamissa doesn't seem to be enjoying herself quite so much. I've actually had to go and hire a scientist because all my scientists are busy. I've also had to do this a couple of times because something weird has been happening where if I revert to launch or I revert to the VAB, it doesn't seem to update everything. Sometimes the rocket is still on the launch pad. So if you revert to VAB then try and launch again, it says there's still something on the launch pad. That's a bit weird. And it's not been updating crew. So I had a situation where I had no scientists available. In fact, I had no crew available. Because every time I went back to the VAB, it would just insist that they're still sat in their rocket, wherever it is. They're still tagged as being on mission, which is obviously a bit of a problem. So I've had to restart this a couple of times. I also have launched once or twice with the wrong crew and then had to revert, but then suddenly the crew wasn't there anymore. This is true. I actually had to go back to my save point around Moho, because that's my last save, and then come back to the VAB and start again. Very silly. All right, so everything is going swimmingly thus far. Everything looking very pretty under the clouds. As you can see, my frame rate's really low. I wonder if I should get rid of Scatterer and EDE. They're very pretty, but I think they're causing me problems in terms of frame rate and stuff like that. But hey, So we're going to be losing those boosters in a bit. I'm going to point us more this way. That should be quite interesting when the boosters come off. That should look quite pretty. I'm not sure when they're going to go. That's one of those things. I don't think any of my instruments will tell me, because they'll tell me the delta V of the whole thing. But I don't think they won't be able to work out the delta V of just the boosters, just those solid fuel boosters. If I'd used liquid fuel boosters, I think I could tell. But obviously their fuel is beginning to run out, so they should be going very soon. And that's the Separatroning. Getting them very far away from the craft, which is good. I doubt I needed as much fuel as I have put into the Separatrons. I probably could have put a lot less in. And gotten the same result, because they're still going, and they don't need to be going anymore. I think that's them. I don't know if they've run out of fuel or if they're just... Wow, they're already a kilometre away. Good grief. So I don't know whether they're just out of fuel or they're just so far away that I can't hear them. But there you go. So we still seem to be steady and not being out of control, which is all good. There's still quite a steep ascent just now, but this is a great big huge beast of a rocket, and so it's not that unreasonable for it to take a little while to be able to point to where it's meant to point. Ideally, if I was running this particular ascent, I'd want to, well, I wouldn't, if I was running it, it'd probably get horribly wrong by now. But what you'd want is, by now, you'd want to be more at 45 degrees. In fact, quite a bit over by that at this point, as you can see, in fact, by what's been asked for here. This might be better when we get to the next stage, because obviously with less rocket, it's all going to be a bit more manageable. But a great deal of that's to do with speed of turning, making sure. I mean, because the one thing I don't want to do is try and turn so quickly that I actually, end up losing control. But it's all looking pretty sweet just now. I could, in theory, start deploying fairings. I don't think I'm going to. I'm going to wait till I'm in orbit. I don't think that's going to make any difference to the actual launch. It's just, I just feel like keeping it on. Main booster stage, well, the main lifting stage, the first lifting stage is beginning to come to a bit of an end. So that should be deploying fairly soon. If I'd put cameras on this, that would probably be a good time to switch to like a hull cam. But I didn't put cameras on this, so. Oh, now we're turning quite quickly now. And that's booster separation. Well, it's stage separation, I should say. And now it's a bit more confident in turning. I've got Werner engines on this stage, so if I feel the need, I can switch that. I'll switch on RCS. But it looks like we're all right. This is all working out swimmingly. Let's bring up MechJeb's Delta V. Delta V stats. I'm just curious to see how well it did when it gets to orbit. Okay, so my apoapsis height is over 70, so I should be getting into an orbit. MechJeb is usually very good about getting into the proper orbit, the orbit I've asked it for. Periapsis height is climbing, because that's the main thing you want to do at this point. You want your periapsis height to come up, because that means you've got less of a very steep ascent. So it's pointing more or less at the horizon at the minute and gradually bringing down the prograde. Yeah, this is all going very nicely. I was worried because it was a very big rocket. I didn't have fins on it, so I don't know whether MechJeb is just better at flying this thing than I am, which actually seems fairly likely now I think about it. Or whether it was actually, I just didn't need fins or anything on it. So that's working okay. Everything beyond here, this is actually quite a large amount of fuel for the transfer stage. Because obviously it takes a fair whack to get to Jool. 2,203. I might be cutting it a bit fine. See how much I have over-engineered this when we actually get to thinking about orbit. It's taking a while for the apoapsis to come up to 100, but I think that's largely because I'm going towards the horizon. A lot more work is bringing up the periapsis and thus flattening out my trajectory. So let's have, there you go, look, that's quite a nice trajectory there. I don't know why is that being designated as a lander? That's weird. That is a ship. There we go. That's very strange. I don't know why it was down as a lander. There's no landing things on this. I have no idea why it would think it was a lander. This is probably the wrong time to check, but I'm going to just... Okay, so the contract is happy with the ship at the minute, so that's all right. Once I get to Jool in orbit, that should all tick, and then I need to get to within 20 kilometers of the unknown object. All right, so my apoapsis height is coming up to the correct value. All right, so we're going to have about 400 delta V left from looks things after we have circularized. Might as well deploy the fairing now, actually. Whee! Because we're not yet in orbit, those will all be on a suborbital trajectory, and they will fall into the atmosphere and burn up and die. So that looked rather swish. There actually aren't solar panels on this craft. Normally you'd put solar panels on a thing like this. But because Jool is going to be so very far away from the sun, you need a great many more solar panels on. I have placed a couple of nuclear generators on board. Now I guess there's an open question as to whether that's going to be enough. Just the two, because I'll be wanting to running various scientific experiments. I'm going to want to do transmissions. I do have a 4K battery on this, so that should be okay in that respect. But you know, it's not like the Moho craft that can run all the scientific instruments at once. Well, all the scanners at once. I don't know if the nuke is going to be enough for that. I actually don't know what the electricity requirements are on the various scientific instruments, the scanners specifically. But I should be able to do scans of Jool when I get there. Warping away. So I should be able to do scans of Jool when I get there. And various other bits and pieces. I don't think I've got enough Delta V to go swanning around the Jool system. You need about 3,339 Delta V to get back, and that's to get into an orbit. So we'll have to see about that. Okay, circularizing, that's all working nicely. There's only about 200 Delta V to do that, so it's a nice orbit, which I have to say, given that I'm using an autopilot, that's probably a good thing. It would be a bit embarrassing if it wasn't actually any good. So now just easing in. Gonna be nice. Give me a nice circular orbit. Now the possibility is these guys are going to be in space for 20 odd days while I wait for the right alignment. So we don't need that anymore. Got 400 Delta V left here, which I think I'm going to keep. So let's take that away and bring on MegJeb. Go away. No. Oh goodness, go away. Well, I don't know why those are just sticking up there. I don't want them to. No. Go away. Thank you. Right. I think it's this one. Balance transfer to another planet. Must select the target for the planetary transfer. Okay. I'm going to quickly make my life a little bit easier. I'm going to use MegJeb. Not MegJeb. Engineer. All right, so that's 27 days. Well, 27 days away, which is actually about right. So I've picked the lowest Delta V, which is really a lot lower than I thought it was. So I'm going to create that node. Initial orbit must not be hyperbolic. So it's going to take 2 years. But I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to do that later. Because apart from anything else, there's going to be in about 11 days, I'm going to have a contract fulfill itself. So I'm going to do that, and then we're going to follow through all the way through to Jool And there we go, look at that. So that is going to be in a little bit. 2 years away, wow. And I'll no doubt want to adjust the exact orbit that we get. Well, maybe not. That's looking pretty good, actually. So that's going to be next time. So thanks so much for watching. Like and subscribe, enjoying the videos. Come find Neil Off Dice at neilofdice.com. We're also on Facebook and Twitter. Also, if you have any ideas of what to do next, because I'm beginning to run out of things that I'm interested in doing. I've been playing this now for, this is very close to a year, and I'm kind of planning to kind of on the anniversary, which is coming up very soon, about a week as of this recording. I'm thinking of changing to another game. Maybe, I don't know if I mean the next thing to do really in Kerbal Space Program would be maybe go to, you know, real solar system, but that looks really hard, and I think beyond rather what I want to do. Maybe we'll change to another game, maybe do something else entirely for these kind of videos. If you have any suggestions, do let me know. I'd be very interested. But until then, and until we come back to Kerbal Space Program, reach for the stars.